Hello, everyone. We are live, and I can see many attendees are starting to join in. We are very excited to welcome you here. I'm Chetna Kapoor from Seed Global Education. We are a UK headquartered company that facilitates connections between leading global universities and prospective students like yourselves. Our mission is to connect aspiring students like you with faculty and admissions teams from top universities, allowing you to explore the programs they offer and make informed decisions about your higher education or career goals. For those of you who are already here, if you could quickly post in the chat which city or country you're dialing in from so that we know where are you attending this webinar from. In the chat section, please drop in where I can see people joining in from Delhi, Mumbai, Indore, Surat, Bangalore, Lucknow. There are people from Africa. There are people from Netherlands, Pakistan. That's a very, very good mix that we have today. Welcome to today's webinar hosted by the George Washington University GW School of Business, located in the heart of Washington, D.C. GWSB is a globally recognized institution offering a dynamic, research-driven education. Ranked #1 in international business by the Financial Times, GWSB provides students with unparalleled access to top global companies, international organizations, and government agencies right at the doorstep. With a focus on strategic vision and real-world experience, GWSB prepares future leaders to excel in today's interconnected economy. I'm excited to welcome you to this special session on Pathways into Consulting, featuring Joseph Miranda, former Global Director of Operations for Corporate Development at Accenture. If you're considering a career in consulting or looking to refine your strategy for breaking into industry, you're in the right place. In this masterclass, we'll explore different career paths in consulting, key industry-specific skills, and how to position yourself effectively in the job market. We'll also dive into GWSP's consulting communities of practice and Consulting 360 program, which provides mentorship, case interview training, network opportunities, and hands-on experience through pro bono consulting projects. By the end of this session, you'll have valuable insights and practical strategies to help you navigate and succeed in the consulting world. Let's get started now. We are over almost 300 participants in this session currently. Let me quickly introduce you to today's panelists. First, we have Joseph Miranda, Assistant Dean of Operations and Interim Executive Director at the F. David Fowler Career Center at GWSP. Before joining GW, Joseph spent 28 years at Accenture, retiring as Global Director of Operations for Corporate Development and M&A. His expertise spans operations, finance, pricing, project management, and career counseling. He also leads the Consulting 360 program at GWSP. Joseph holds a BS in Finance from the University of Tennessee and an MS in Engineering Management from the Catholic University of America. Welcome, Joseph. We are also joined by Sean Min, Associate Director of Graduate Business Admissions at GWSP. With extensive experience in higher education admissions, Sean guides prospective students through the application process, offering insights into GWSP's graduate programs. Welcome, Sean. Before we get started, here's a quick question for the audience. I'll be launching a poll on your screens right now. Please take 30 seconds to respond to that. What type of support would be most valuable in advancing your consulting career? Personalized mentorship and career coaching, structured case interview preparation, hands-on experience through consulting projects, networking with industry professionals and alumni, or guidance on personal branding and job search strategies. Just take a few seconds to respond to this poll so that we have an idea of where and how we can guide you when it comes to career as a consulting as a career option. I will now end the poll. And let's see the results. Well, the top answer is hands-on experience through consulting projects, followed by personalized mentorship and career coaching. Now, to take this ahead, over to you, Joseph.
Thank you all so very much. I am delighted to be with you all today and to share some insights into careers in consulting. That first poll was wonderful because no matter what you answered, at GWSB, we can definitely provide support in all of those areas. So let me share my screen for a moment. Sorry for the challenge in sharing the screen. Wonderful. Hopefully everybody can see the screen at the moment. Let me just put it into present mode. So the introduction to me was wonderful. So I really don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but I do have close to 30 years of experience in the consulting industry before retiring and coming to higher ed. Part of what we'll talk about today is a lot of what's expected in the industry. You know, if you're interested in consulting, if you're thinking about consulting, not sure about consulting, there's a lot to consider. It's a wonderful career path. So we're going to be talking about, you know, what are some general expectations about the industry and what skill sets their consulting firms are looking for. We'll talk about what you can expect to gain from a career in consulting, and then a little bit about how we at GWSB can help you get there. So let's first talk about some key points when you're looking at a career in consulting. If you're entering the business school, for example, you can have a varied, degree path. You don't have to be in business analytics or management or marketing. You can be in any of those and find a home in consulting. And why is that? It's because consulting firms are looking at, smart individuals that have structured thinking, strong communication skills, poise under pressure, because as you go through the interview process, it's going to be case interviews. It'll be a pressured situation. They want to see how you handle that pressure. Do you demonstrate being able to work effectively across functions? An entrepreneurial mindset and innovation is very important. And what we mean by that is not to go develop something necessarily, but when you start in a consulting company, you're not going to necessarily start at the top rung. So you're going to have to learn your trade. You're not going to get into a consulting company and tell them necessarily what they need to do to change. They've been there for a long time. But what you can do is you can look at the task you're given, and you can look at how can you make that task better? How can you innovate the work that you're specifically doing? And that's going to set you apart in the industry and in your company. And then strong soft skills. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on, because I think this is a differentiator as we talk with employers and what they're seeing in much of the workforce today, which is students coming out of universities, getting into consulting, and what they feel are the skill sets they're lacking. And that's what we've built here at the business school in our Consulting 360 program that can really set our students apart from their start group peers and allow them to be identified as fast movers within the industry. Now, there are many areas to kind of competencies to get into in consulting. You might want to do management or strategy consulting. You might want to get into the technology side or human resource management or financial services or public sector. There's lots of different areas you can get into. The main thing is understanding where you want to focus and what the skill sets you need to get there, right? And the technology side, for example, maybe focus a little bit more on if you have some tech skills, but then again, you don't necessarily need it. When I joined in 1993, right out of grad school, I was sent to a 3-week boot camp on COBOL programming. I was, didn't have, programming experience, so they'll teach you. So you can pretty much get into any area you want. The main thing is you're not going to necessarily get on the project you want. They're going to put you on the project that is most needed, where they need somebody right away. But that doesn't mean you can't navigate to a certain area. So if you want to get into a sustainability focus in a consulting company, you might be put in a communications project to start with. But leveraging your network, developing mentors, you can navigate to where you want to go. Be open to opportunities. I mean, one of the things that I love so much and that kept me in a career in consulting are the many opportunities that crossed my desk. I joined in technology consulting, worked for telecom, did that. I was pulled into a federal government strategy project. It was supposed to be short term, but it ended up being a number of years. So I guess they liked me in that project. Then moved into my first stint in corporate development, doing financial deal structuring. Was able to work on the first $1 billion project that we won at Accenture. Then moved into a portfolio management role, and then back into leading as a global director of operations and corporate development and M&A at Accenture. So opportunities will pass by, and be open to them, because no career path is linear. It's very serpentine. And if you're open to opportunities, you'll find new doors, new skills, new networks, new experiences that will be a career builder for you. And seek and accept professional feedback. The best consultants ask for feedback and accept it, both positive and critical. Because the critical feedback is things that you may not see, but others do, and that can help you refine your approach, your behaviors, your skill set to make you an even better consultant and advance your career. So let's move on to here is, what can you expect to gain from a consulting career? Well, you're going to work with other intelligent people, and you're going to work on interesting projects. Some projects I've worked on or that my company worked on and that I worked on, just to show you the various, are anywhere from taking over a whole area of a company and rebadging those employees as your company and providing that service back to the client. We did that with Ryder Trucks back in the late 90s. Building a wearable technology, the magic bands for Walt Disney World, which we built. Helping the federal government with student loan single sign-on. Building and helping BMW on their software for their cars, so you can see the 360 bird's eye view from your dashboard. So lots of exciting and varied projects, a lot of intelligent and interesting people. You'll be building very marketable skills in consulting. You'll be building skills that you'll learn how to deal with clients, how to nurture that relationship, how to be effective with your team, how to be effective with cross-cultural teams, because today you're going to have team members across the world that you're working with, and as you advance across the world that you'll be leading. So how do you lead effectively with a team across continents? You'll learn about the latest technologies and trends. You'll be able to stay ahead of that, know where it's going, how do you approach it, where are you in that S curve? Every day is different. No 2 days are the same in consulting. Your challenges are different. Your projects will change from time to time, which makes it exciting. Not every day is not the same thing you do every day, every week, every month. So if you like that type of environment, you're going to love consulting. They do have higher salaries. Many folks are interested in that because it pays very well. but it is a very much a results-oriented culture. So while it pays well, it is demanding, and it is an up or out culture. And that means if you're not moving up in the organization, they're going to probably help you find another role outside of the organization. You will work long hours and weekends. It's definitely not a 9-to-5 job. Consulting has peaks and valleys. You'll be working extremely hard on a project as you reach deadlines, and other times you may have a more stable week. But put in the hours. When you have some downtime, put in training. Build more knowledge about the services your company is providing, the technology, and the industry you're working in. If you use your time that you do have in those lull periods to build your acumen and to build your technology quotient, you're going to do very well. And nowadays, with virtual meetings, the travel is not as much as it used to be, but there is still a potential for significant travel and consulting, depending on what industry you're in and what particular projects you're working on. Now let's get into how can the George Washington School of Business help you achieve your career aspirations in consulting. Well, we've built this program called Consulting 360. And the whole focus here, you see our mission on the thing, but the whole focus is to make you day one market ready for the consulting industry. And that's important. And that, remember, I talked a little bit earlier about those soft skills that are really critical. And we're going to mention that. Now, what I brought to the program here when I joined GW was all of the experiences I had. And when I brought in and hired undergrads, grads from all universities, whether it be the Ivy League or not, I've seen students come in, some succeed very well, and I've seen others stumble. And those that stumbled in front of me and I coached and they course corrected, I forgot the stumble. There are other senior executives that people have stumbled in front of, and they remembered it for years, and that stunted their career growth within the company. So what we've built here is, how do we keep our students from avoiding those early stumbles, to set themselves apart, to build the skills that are needed in the industry, and this way succeed in whatever success is for you in your career. Now, the program I'm going to be walking through here quickly, this program is not, I cannot find any other program like this in the United States. I've searched. If any of you do find one, I'll retract that statement. So this is a unique program, and I think it will set individuals that do participate and give it all their effort, will set them apart and allow them to be a good consultant, and also set yourself apart from your other peers coming from other universities. So this is just a quick overview of the program. The fall semester is the associate level of the Consulting 360 program. Here's where we build a lot of industry knowledge. What are the various career paths and basic interview prep? We help you with your resume, behavioral interviews, and the case interview preparation. Now, the industry knowledge, career paths, and interview prep are all provided in a workshop format, which is all hands-on and experiential. So we have industry experts coming in, many of them are alum, that come in and provide and do these workshops. And the students will participate and get a lot out of that. For example, we have a strategy consulting workshop, a workshop on data analytics and consulting. And we have our alum that come back and do these workshops, and they work for EY, EY Parthenon, Deloitte. We also have former McKinsey partner that was a professor here that does workshops. So you'll get a lot of great content, but it's all hands-on and experiential. Now, if you meet the requirements to progress on in the spring, then you get to the executive level. And that's where we do more experiential learning. That's where the pro bono projects that were mentioned in the introduction come into play. There's much more networking. Networking occurs throughout the whole year, but it really elevates more in the spring. and the professional development, those soft skills that are critical to your advancement and your development as a consultant, but not even just as a consultant, as a professional, no matter what career path you follow. And then what we hope to get you is landing jobs and internships. The first year I took over this project, built this extra component out of all the professional development. We built out an executive speaker series that brings in C-suite and senior level individuals from industry to come talk to the students, is to get you job landings. And of my executive level program, we had 97% of them that got a landing, which means a full-time job or an internship. While it's not guaranteed, the skills you build here will help set you apart and give you those learning experiences that employers are anxious to see on your resume. Now, the program is built on 4 pillars. Now, I love the pillar analogy here. Increasing industry knowledge, navigating career paths, and not only career paths, you can navigate through the program too, right? You can focus on the workshops that are most important to your particular path within consulting. Networking and experiential learning goes throughout the entire program. And then obviously making sure that you're ready for the interview, right? Your resume is good, your behavioral interview you're prepped and ready for, and that you've had the training to be successful in the case interview part of the process. Now let's look at each of these a little bit more in depth. So increasing industry knowledge. As I mentioned before, there's many workshops that walk you through different areas that you might be interested in consulting and talk to you a little bit more about those. This way, you'll have a better understanding if strategy is the right path for you, or technology consulting, or some other path. But you'll get a better sense of what's involved in those areas. And you'll also learn a lot about how do consultants think and address problems, which is where that McKinsey partner, former professor here, gives a 3-series workshop on just how to think, how to approach problem solving. And it comes very much from the McKinsey way, right? So it's more of an MBB focus in those particular workshops, but it's good for any career. Navigating career paths. Well, throughout the program, you have access to coaches here at the Career Center. You'll have that one-on-one coaching that you can benefit from. We'll have the pro bono internships that you'll be able to put those skills to use and develop client relationship management skills and work on real projects for companies. Industry panels. We have industry panels, we have executive speaker series, and you'll have access to various alumni. Going into networking, when you make it to the spring semester, the executive level, we pair each of our executive level members with a mentor in industry. So now you have access to a mentor and you can develop that relationship, but then that's between you and your mentor and how often you want to connect and what the discussions are about. The executive speaker series gives you a chance not only to listen to C-suite and senior level individuals within industry, but to network with them afterwards. And throughout all of our workshops, you have the chance to network with all of those industry folks that come and provide those workshops. And then we'll do site visits. We've built a very good relationship with the Gallup organization here. And we've had Jim Clifton, their chairman, come speak. I was just at Gallup on Monday, and they're going to be putting on more events. So that's really good. We've had a project with a small, medium-sized consulting company here and went to their site. So there's different opportunities for you to go out and see what the consulting company's buildings look like, where they work, and get to meet some of the alum from the school that work there and some of the leadership from that organization. And then interview and career prep. Resume, interview prep, case interview, all of that. But the professional development skills are key. Those are the things that will round and polish you off as a consulting and professional in general. And I want to talk a little bit more about those right now. So what do I mean when I say professional development? Right? you're going to learn all of the education from your program and have all of that knowledge, but so will everybody else that's graduating, right? They're going to have similar classes, similar knowledge. So what will set you apart? Well, in our program, we focus on a number of things. One is executive presence. Executive presence can account for up to 25% of your promotion decision. So it's very important to develop the executive presence early, because that's also going to impact your brand, your personal brand, which is extremely important. So we teach you, what is executive presence? How do you recognize it? What are the components of it? How do you develop executive presence? So that's a very important topic. Next is effective presentation skills. You're going to have to present virtually, like we're doing today. You may have to present in person in the office or at a client site. So effective presentation skills are important, right? Your body language. What gestures do you use when you're talking about a project timeline or profitability, right? There's different gestures that you would use. What's the proper way to be able to address a senior level individual, a CEO versus your project manager? They both expect information, but at different levels. So we go into all of this to help you be more effective in your presentation skills. And you're always presenting, even if you're answering a question or asking a question in class. You know, be conscious of the way you're presenting yourself and building your personal brand. Professional etiquette or professional behaviors is another area. This is extremely important as you enter into the workforce. Whether you've had a few years of experience or not, you need to be able to know and navigate through different situations. You know, how do you deal with a situation of business travel with a team? Right, you're going to go to many different functions. You may go to a formal client dinner, navigating through that path. How do you handle interactions through email or text messaging with colleagues, with clients? So we're going to talk and make sure that we have our students really building the right professional behaviors expected in the workforce. And then entrepreneurial mindset and an innovative mindset. You know, here's where you can make a big difference. If you take the task in front of you and develop that and build that out and innovate that, you're going to set yourself apart within any company that you work for. Now, networking. Networking is something that's very important. Most people find it a little daunting. Few people love it, but we have to build our skills in it, no matter where we are on that spectrum. So we help you, right? We have that mentor pairing. This gives you a chance to build a mentorship with someone in industry. We bring in many executives, like I said, Jim Clifton. We've had CFOs, CEOs, entrepreneurs coming in to talk to you as students here about their career path, their industry, their experiences, what they think is important for you to make sure and take away as you're entering the workforce. And then they also will network with you. And many have actually taken others under their wing at times. And then the site visits, a great opportunity to see where consultants work. What is that company like? Does that culture resonate with you? Because that's a very important topic too, understanding what kind of culture and organization you want into. Do you want a large, huge company like Accenture with 800,000 people? Or do you want a smaller boutique consulting company or anywhere in between? So this is a good opportunity through this program to get a sense of where you might fit best and succeed best. Now, in the spring, we have a lot of pro bono projects. These are a few that we're doing this spring, just to give you a sense of, you know, what types of work do we do on the pro bono projects, right? We do go-to-market strategy, for example. There's analyzing competitors' financials and benchmarking market position. So you can see it's varied and it's very exciting. We even had a project a couple of years ago with our local professional baseball team in helping them figure out in their market compared to comparable markets and teams, how do they bring in more families and students to the ballpark. So very exciting and varied projects to kind of learn from. And in different industries, we've done education to consulting to sports marketing to startups. So nice opportunity to put the skills you've learned in the program into practice, build your acumen, and this is also something that you can put in your resume as well. And here are some of the companies that we have our mentors and our workshop presenters come from. You can see it's a big list of companies, many big names you'll know, and this list is constantly growing. So we have a lot of experience that we bring here to the campus and have our students get access to build their ability to get a good career in consulting. Now, we do have expectations that I always like to share. The students that come into the program, we want them to be proactive in their career goals. You know, what you put into something is what you get out of something. So be proactive. Take an active part in each of the workshops that you attend. Dress professionally and be mindful of your virtual presence. Always be mindful of your virtual presence. We expect, you know, a professional dress. Doesn't mean suits or in just professional, business casual. And be mindful that when you're on a call, you put your screen on. You know, it's not a blank screen. You show yourself and you participate. Be committed, communicate, and collaborate with others in the program, your cohort. Interact with mentors, staff, faculty, students, and employers. We have lots of employers coming into campus, information sessions, career fairs. Be very active in that. And support each other's success and give back to the program. Because as you graduate and as you become an alumni and you get into the industry, come back and share your knowledge with those that are in school at that time. So I think with that, I'll pause and I'll stop sharing and see if there's any questions.
We'll take the questions towards the end, if that's okay with you, Joseph.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Joseph, for sharing your invaluable insights on pathways into consulting. Before Sean tells us more about George Washington University School of Business graduate programs and offerings, let's run our second poll question. I'll be just a second. I'll be running the second poll question on your screens. I would request you to take a couple of seconds and answer what is the most important factor in your decision to study in the US as an international student. I will give you a few seconds to go through the options so that it helps Sean to tell you and guide you what she's going to present. I'll end the poll now and let's look at the results. All right. 44% people believe that all of the above options are the most important factors, but leading is opportunities for career growth and networking. Sean, I will now hand it over to you, please.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let me see if I can close and share my screen. Okay, I'm assuming everyone can see my screen. And I will go ahead and begin. So hello, my name is Sean Min. I'm one of the associate directors here at GW School of Business. Thank you so much for attending this masterclass, and it is my pleasure to give you a brief overview of GW School of Business. So interesting poll. I kind of laughed because all the above is probably the right answer, and certainly graduate programs, especially GW School of Business, can certainly help you in many of those concerns and fronts and interests that you may have. So a quick look at GW School of Business. We are located right in the heart of Washington, D.C. We were founded in 1821, and then in 1928, the School of Business was founded on the spirit of innovation. So we're about 97 years old, and certainly proud of a lot of the accomplishments and milestones that we have made over these 97 years. For one is we are an R1, so a top tier research university. But in addition, in 2023, we were invited to be a part of this elite group called the Association of American Universities. So being the 71st university to be added to this group, it really shows a lot of our hard work, research, innovation, and the desire to continue to push the needle forward when it comes to business and research. We are 3,000 students right here at GW School of Business, with half of them being graduate students. We're really proud of our diversity, as well as being #1 for several years now, having 881 international students representing over 102 countries. We're also really proud to have great representation of women across all of our graduate programs. And notably, we are #1 worldwide for women in our full-time MBA program. So there on the map is Duquesne Hall inside that circle. That is our business school building. And if you've been to DC or not, just showing you a little snapshot of where we are centrally located, also being surrounded by some great monuments and landmarks. So at the 12 o'clock hour, you see our national mall, followed by 3, 4 is our Kennedy Center and Watergate. The Potomac River is flowing over there to the right. And just blocks away, we are close to the IMF, the World Bank, and the State Department as well. So we have some adjunct professors that come from these organizations. And certainly there are opportunities and events that are being hosted where students are also invited to those organizations as well. So in terms of kind of highlighting GWSB, I like to break it up into two kind of fronts. One is what's going on and what differentiates us inside the classroom, and then what differentiates us outside of the classroom. So for one, we have world-class faculty, and one of those kind of affirmations is GW being part of that elite group I was saying about the Association of American Universities. One notable, I would say, professor currently is trending is Dr. Sharon Hill, who's done some outstanding work when it comes to virtual teams, remote work, and that's really been on the heels of the pandemic. Our curriculum is extremely innovative and very much global, being very close to the heart of business and policy, and where a lot of this can happen and where important decisions are made. Our professors take a lot of effort and pride in making sure that the students are getting a global education when it comes to any of our master's and MBA programs. We're also really proud to have an excellent experiential learning department that works tirelessly every semester in providing outstanding experiential learning opportunities, not just internationally, but domestically as well. And one of those is our Business and Societies course that run during the spring break time. This gives students, even mostly for our exclusively online learners, a chance to come to DC, spend a couple days here checking out our campus, meeting some professors, but also getting some of that site visit and global experience as well, right here in the heart of Washington, D.C. Another great aspect of GW is the flexibility and customizability of all of our master's programs. We're really proud that we can have such a nice deck of coursework for our students that can be done both on campus, online, or in a hybrid fashion. We have over 15 graduate certificates, which I'll talk about in the next couple slides. That's really allows for students to an area of concentration or specialization, and some of those fold really nicely into our master's programs. We also have over 200 electives, and that's just within the School of Business alone. And students are able to take up to 6 electives outside of GWSB, so that gives you even more opportunity to take some interesting coursework that you might want to pursue. I should also mention that we have 10 schools within the university, and GWSB is just one of those 10. We also have some outstanding joint and dual degrees, over 20 of them that pair really nicely with our MBA programs. Now, looking outside of the classroom, we also are really proud of some unique differentiators that we hope you will consider. And for one is our Career Center that Joseph has just talked about, and he just gave you a sliver of what the Fowler Center does. They work with students in terms of fine-tuning the resume, salary negotiations, interview skills. And really, I encourage students to stop by within the first couple of weeks to introduce yourself and really sit down with a career coach and talk about your career aspirations and how and what are the steps that you need to take to get yourself there. So we are really proud to have some outstanding clubs and events. We have an outstanding student engagement representative that works with our clubs and organizations. They are open to all of our students, and not only within the GWSB, but certainly at the university level as well. We have some students that will come together and play pickup soccer games. We have some consulting clubs. The Prismatica is another club as well. So both affinity and professional work related clubs as well. I always like to say, try to do at least 2. One, something personal that keeps you engaged and interested and fueled up. And then another one that's really more on the professional front that keeps you going and growing in that professional space. So Joseph talked a little bit about the extensive alumni network in terms of how they help within the Career Center aspect, but also helping you on a personal front as well. And we are about 320,000 proud at GW, and then about 59,000 here just within the School of Business. And we have extensive opportunities. We have our industry roundtables and our meet and greets. And those are just 2 where we invite our alumni to come and speak and engage with our students. The industry roundtables in particular is really an outstanding opportunity. It's kind of like a speed dating for a couple hours where we'll invite about 25 or so companies and representatives. Most of them happen to be alumni, and then the rest are friends of alumni, where you will sign up to meet with a few of them and have a 30-minute kind of conversation along with a few other of your classmates to really talk about, how did they get where they are today, and what are some experiences that they would like to share, and how you might get to where they are in the near future. So I briefly talked about the global experiential learning programs, but also want to share that there's opportunities for students to go away for a semester. And that is also through our 20 partner schools that we have established over many, many years. The classes are all taught in English, the credits transfer. And so we have some outstanding opportunities within Asia, as well as Europe and throughout the world. And so that folds into that long-term exchange again for a semester that students can participate in. Last but not least, I will talk about our newest opportunities just within GWSB and the university. So for one is our alumni department. They do an outstanding job in connecting our students through the Careers Connect, which is an opportunity for students to connect with some of our alumni as also for mentorship. And these are folks that have offered their time and services to help our students. Another kind of great opportunity for those that might be in sports is like our SYNC conference, our sports industry networking conference. These again are really hosted by the School of Business, really being spearheaded by our sports management department. But again, these are great opportunities that are available to all of our students. So I keep talking about our programs, and so here is a slide that really gives you the full breadth of our graduate programs. We have a combination of MBA programs, so 2 full-time MBA our global and our accelerated, followed by our 14 master's degrees. Now, these degrees are some of them are STEM designated, as you can see in the asterisk, and these are the ones where students can be eligible for an additional 2 years of OPT upon completion of the program. Last but not least, I talked about those certificates, an area that you can do a specialization, and some of the master's degrees, as well as the full-time MBA programs, can include a graduate certificate. I will also add that the master's degrees range from 30 credits all the way up to 48 credits, most of them being 30 credits. And this is a detailed look at our graduate certificates. So each of these certificates are actually 4 courses equivalent to 12 credits. So for some of our master's degrees, you are able to do a graduate certificate, for example, or MSIST, which is our information systems. Students are able to do a concentration in either AI, cloud application, or management of technology. And I will also add within the certificate, there is also there is a combination of both required courses as well as electives. So you're not wedded into taking the certificates and be stuck to take 4 specific ones. You do still have some choice when you pursue the certificates as well. So aside from the standard application, which perhaps most of you are familiar with, I do want to highlight some additional requirements for our international students. For one is the English language test scores. So there on your screen, you will see the bandwidth of the scores that we are requiring. We will accept the TOEFL, the IELTS, the PTE, and Duolingo. In addition, we also require a transcript evaluation, which we will need. And that basically is an evaluation of your transcript, which was not done in the US, to equate that to the US 4.0 GPA scale. We will do that in-house. As a courtesy, however, we are generating quite a long queue. So if you are looking to expedite and have your application reviewed sooner, I would recommend that you seek that evaluation externally, and you can do that through WES, SpanTran, IEE, and that's just a few that are part of this group called the NACES, National Association of Credential Evaluation Services. But please keep in mind that we can do your evaluation. It just may take a little longer as we have quite a bit of students who would also like their transcript evaluated as well. And so that concludes my portion of the business school here at GW. We do have an event tomorrow, actually, for students who would like to tap in and tune in virtually. It is our virtual open house scheduled at 11 a.m. for about 2 hours. It's a great way to learn more about our Career Center. I believe we have a student panel that'll be joining, and a little bit more in depth about our programming as well. And so if you want to go ahead and maybe take a screenshot of this slide, or even just snap the QR code, it will take you directly to our registration page. And I believe in the chat, someone has already on my team has also offered that link as well. And that concludes my portion. And if there's any questions, I believe I will turn it over to Chetna.
Yes, thank you, Sean. That was really insightful. Let's jump right into the Q&A. The very first question is for you, Joseph. What advice would you give to someone transitioning into consulting from a non-business background? Because there are people in the Q&A section coming from mass communication background and another one from international relations background, for example. What would be that advice that you would give?
That's a great question. Give you an example. When I started in consulting, a senior manager that was working at Accenture had a music degree. So I think the degree is it's important to have a degree and do well with the degree that you have. But if you're coming from a program outside of the business school, that doesn't mean you can't get into consulting. Again, what I mentioned on the slides was they're looking for structured thinking, strong communicator, eager to learn, the ability to be calm under pressure and be able to solve problems, right? And if you have that ability, I think you'll be fine and you still can get an access into consulting.
All right. Thank you for that answer. Sean, the next question is for you. And in fact, I will break this question into two parts. One, what qualities does GW look for in applicants to its graduate business programs? And two, what are the most common mistakes that you would see and would advise people to avoid in their applications?
Okay, so what was the first question, Chetna? I kind of chuckled at the second part, but
No, what qualities does GW look in for the applicants for its graduate business programs?
Sure, we're looking for a strong application, right? In general, certainly, the holistic approach is your work experience for those that are been in the workforce for a number of years. Your transcript, your essay. I would say to take some time in that as well, but also do your research and making sure that the program that you're looking to apply to is really fitting with your career aspirations. I do think there's so many different programs that have similar names, but the curriculums might be different and the focuses might be different as well. And so if that doesn't necessarily fit with your career aspirations, then perhaps you might want to research and look for another one. So that would be actually also say that could be a mistake as well. So when you read someone's essay and they're talking about the curriculum that's aiming towards this, but it's really not what we're offering here at GWSB, that's a flag to me that I'm not really sure this student quite understands what he or she might be thinking that might think that the program is when it really isn't. The pitfalls, I would say, some of the easy ones I would just recommend is to do your spell check and grammar check and make sure you're applying to the school that is listed on your essay and your application. That's probably the most obvious, but I will tell you, we see that quite a lot. And the other pitfall I would say that people tend to make is not being sure of all of the requirements that are needed for an application. So most schools, we have very common requirements, but some are nuanced. And some programs actually have some prerequisites as well. So I would encourage students to really do a thorough research when it comes to the programs that they're looking to apply. I did see one question in the chat which someone said, can I speak to a faculty member to talk about which program might be appropriate for them. So it's actually our team here at GW, our admissions team. So certainly you can email the general email address at business@gwu.edu, and they will be able to connect you with the right advisor to help you navigate which program might be the one for you.
All right, thank you for that answer. Joseph, the next one is for you. With years of experience in your hand, if you could go back to your first year in consulting, what's that one thing you wish you had done differently? This is my personal question to you. But I will also follow up this question with another one. Namrata Gupta in the chat box has written 22-year-old. She's holding a BCom degree right now and is working for a year as an associate consultant in a startup, which is a recruitment consulting firm. So what is that one advice that you would give her? And that is the follow-up that comes with my question, that if you could go back to your first year in consulting, one thing that you would have done differently.
Sure. Take more risks, actually. And, I have two daughters, both are out of college. And I always tell them, take the risks. Now you have to balance what the consequences are of the risk and make sure you're making a good decision, and the outcome is not going to be too negative if it were to fail. But I would say take risks. Secondly, for the other question about 22-year-old associate consultant, advice to you is I think you've got that's very good experience you're gaining, right? There is no bad experience if you've got a good job and you're learning something, no matter where you are in the hierarchy, right? Just starting or mid-level management, that is good experience. That's going to help you as you now move to a graduate program and then build the skill set on top of the experience and your undergrad. And then from there, launching a further career, whether it be in consulting or if you take a different path.
All right. There's one more question for you, Joseph. Shambhavi Mishra has written that what master's program will resonate better for getting into management consulting? Can students get a MIM and then get into consulting firms, or is MS in business analytics necessary? So she's a second year student of BBA and she's pretty confused and she needs a response on this.
Sure. I would answer that with, where is your interest first, right? Because if your interest is in, for example, business analytics, there's a pathway to consulting. If your interest is in information systems technology, there's a pathway to consulting. If your interest is in any of those, there is a pathway, right? So where do you see yourself wanting to be in 3, 4, 5 years? What area? Do you want to be in marketing? Do you want to be in business analytics, regardless of the degree path? Because any of those can get you into consulting, right? But if you want to get into consulting, but you really want to be in data, then I think you find that one path. If you really want that marketing knowledge and get into consulting, which you may leverage somewhere else down the road in a project for another client, then go ahead. You can get into consulting in any of those, as long as, again, you're performing well, you have a good GPA, you build the skills necessary, and you interview well.
To get into consulting, is networking important or grades? Somebody has asked that.
Both. Grades are very important, but networking is key. And the earlier you start networking, the better, because it doesn't end when you get your job, right? You'll network a lot to get the job. Then once you're in a company, doesn't matter, consulting or any other company, you're going to continue to have to network, building a strong network within the company, outside the company, in the industry, building mentors and champions. So it's a practice to get comfortable with now, because you'll have to do it for the rest of your life.
That's true. Thank you. Sean, this one's for you. There are some students who want to know details about scholarships, fee waivers, etc. If you can throw some light on that.
Yes, sure. So we offer merit-based scholarships here at GW. So putting the best application you can will certainly put you in a good place. Should you be admitted to a program, your application will automatically be moved and considered for an award. In terms of the application fee waiver, I'm not sure if you'll be providing that, Chetna, on the seed side, but if not, please join us tomorrow, as there will be an application fee waiver for attending our virtual house tomorrow at 11 a.m.
All right. And there's a follow-up question. What is the cohort size for COP? And what is the class size like at GWSB?
For COP, I'm assuming they mean the consulting program?
Yes.
Yeah. So, for example, we have, it varies from year to year. Like 2 years ago was 245 entered into the program. That's the beginning program, not the executive level, because you'll see a big drop off into the executive level. We usually have around the 45, 50 that end up in the executive level, but it starts with around 245. This past year was around 200. So that's kind of the size of those entering in. And those that continue through is much smaller, as they determine whether consulting is for them or is not for them, or have the ability or the time to commit to it. And one other thing, there's no cost to that. This is a co-curricular program. So there's no cost to participate in the Consulting 360. If you're a student here, you're eligible to participate.
Just a follow-up question about Consulting 360. Many aspiring consultants struggle with case interviews. What's the most common mistake candidates make, and how does GW's Consulting 360 program help them to avoid it?
Great question. There's lots of different mistakes that people will make. It depends on where your strengths are and where those other areas you need to augment, right? So it could be in understanding the flow of a case. It could be in the mental math part of the case. And how we support that is, one, we do one-on-one case interviewing. We also have a relationship with Management Consulted, which is the largest organization that helps in developing programs and resources. So as a GW Business School student, you have access. We have bought licenses, and you'll have access past a paywall on Management Consulted, so you can leverage those resources in preparing. We also have Management Consulted come here every fall and put on a fast math workshop. So they'll train you on things you need to be. What are some rules you can apply and rules of thumb to be able to quickly get to a particular answer, with whether it be with percentages or anything else, right? So we do a lot to help prepare the students, building the math, which is always a big hurdle. Some folks get very nervous about that, but also understanding how the flow goes and how you need to be able to be effective in communicating your thinking to the interviewer while you're doing that in your mind. And that's key. The communication aspect's key.
All right. Sean, the next question is for you. What kind of career support and mentorship does GW provide to business students post-graduation? And how much of work experience is required?
Okay, so this might be in a little bit more on the Career Center, because the Career Center works with students. It's a really long journey. Works with students while they're here, and certainly can help and facilitate students upon graduation as well. So the Career Center and the career support isn't just one-sided, and it's not just at one time. It's throughout the whole experience that you have here at GWSB. In terms of the support in general, we have a lot of support we provide our students from the beginning, working with the program manager. As soon as a student commits to our program managers will contact them, setting up calls, understanding, the time frame perhaps in which, if they have a shorter time frame in which they need to finish the program. Generally, students will finish programs in 2 to 3 semesters. Some programs might allow for a little bit longer, given on the credit size. And then there's additional support as well. We have an awesome international advisory board. Each student is an international student, and that is dedicated and broken out by program. So students are readily there to help students even transition from coming from wherever you are, XYZ country, to the US, transitioning, housing, where can I go to have a really good meal? That's usually one of the first questions students ask. What are the great, cheap, awesome restaurants here in the DC area? So we have a lot of good resources for our students. International Students Office also puts on a lot of good events, especially during the holidays. We don't want anyone to feel alone. And it's a really good community. I really feel that the international community here is probably one of the strongest anywhere.
All right. Joseph, I will now just ask you one last question from Tanmay Sharma in the Q&A section. He comes from a biotech background. He is doing his MSc, and he was a part of an internship which dealt with stakeholder management. With that experience, he wants to know, where can he start his quest to get into consultancy as a whole, and how does he get a beginner experience to be considered for consultancy roles?
Great. Well, the biotech background and kind of that account management or stakeholder management aspect I think, are very two good skill sets, because there's a lot of work in the biotech industry right now, and also understanding account management is a skill that I think would be attractive to consulting companies, because they're always looking for, when you do any interview, case interview or not, they're analyzing whether or not you're someone that they can put in front of a client. And if you have the stakeholder management skills and you're thinking about how to work with clients, what your stakeholders need, how you're supporting those needs, and that comes out in the interview process, I think it will raise your chances more of getting into a good position. And with those skills, I think, you'd be successful anywhere, even if it's not biotech, because, like I said, consulting companies like the skills, but they'll train you in their way of approaching problem solving. They'll train you in whatever technologies or service lines they have, and they'll place you in where they need you. But your background will come into play later on as when you maybe get on a job or a engagement that leverages that knowledge. So it's very good pairing.
All right. And one last question before I wrap this masterclass for both of you. Actually, you can answer one by one. Sean, you go first. If you had to summarize the GW Business School experience in just 3 words, what would they be?
Oh, I wish I had prepared for that. 3 words? Okay. I would say it's international, collaborative. So I will say that GWU, there's a kind of a joke, although I don't think it's a joke anymore. It stands for Group Work University. So I really do feel that this community comes together really well, and the teamwork aspect is very high here. So there's no I in we, right? The last I would say is innovative. Our professors do outstanding research, and by being part of the Association of American Universities and having some of our professors consistently year over year be recognized for their outstanding work really is a testament to how forward thinking our professors are. And that trend, trickles down to our students as well, pushing them as well to be great students and innovative thinkers.
Joseph, the same question to you.
So opportunities. There's so many opportunities here at the university, right? Entrepreneurial, bring that entrepreneurial, the innovative mindset that Sean had mentioned here, right? And then the caliber of the students. It really does. I mean, each student sharpens each other. So take part, get involved, know your cohort, because there's so many great students here. Every single one that I've come in contact with, they're just wonderful students and wonderful people.
All right. Thank you for that lovely answer. As we wrap up today's masterclass, thank you all for joining and engaging in this insightful discussion. We hope you've gained valuable knowledge about pathways into consulting, industry-specific skills, and strategies for breaking into top firms. Special thanks to Joseph and Sean for sharing their expertise and experiences with us. We are excited to see how you apply these insights to advance your careers. Thank you again, and we look forward to staying connected. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.